All right, so today we're going to be talking about something a little hypothetical, a little bit nuanced. It's something I've been hearing people talk about on different SOF channels here and there. Most recently, and the reason I'm doing the video, I saw Sean Ryan from the Sean Ryan podcast talking about this. And not to misquote him at all, but he basically said, or posed the question, is special operations or the special operator sort of becoming irrelevant? Is it dying off? Is the need for it going away? Is it being sort of phased out in usefulness? Now, he didn't pose that in that, American SOF is somehow worse than it used to be. It's more of the idea that the future of war and the way things are going with technology and cyber and AI and all these different things, is that going to make the operator irrelevant? Okay, so I want to share my personal perspective and opinion on this. I think it's a really relevant question to be asking, but I think there's some nuances to it that we have to consider, right? So, my opinion, short answer, is special operations dying? Is a special operator sort of going the way of the dinosaur? Probably. However, probably for some specific SOF units, okay? And I'm going to elaborate and explain on that. Sorry if you're in one of these that I say is probably on its way out, and I mean in usefulness. But it is what it is, okay? So let's talk about it a little bit, right? So now I think, from Sean's perspective as a Navy SEAL, right, they're almost exclusively doing direct action, okay? Same thing for Ranger Battalion and a few other different units, right? That is their core function, direct action. And direct action from the SOF point of view, we work on small elements, point target hits, raids, things like that, okay? What is sort of required for effective direct action in the way we do it? Completely controlling the air, having air support ready. We don't infill into an area where the enemy has control of the sky. It's not going to happen. You're not going to be able to do any direct action without that, okay? So when you're looking at a war like Ukraine, Russia, for example, and it's a first world versus first world peer-to-peer conflict, okay, the ability for SOF to do direct action, basically non-existent. It's not a thing, okay? We really can't infill and fight a first world country, let's say us versus China, go in with, 20 dudes and hit targets with no air support. It's just not, it's not realistic, okay? So what you're seeing in a place like Ukraine and Russia, right, they're not doing any of that. What they're doing is tank warfare, trench warfare, drones. They can't even fly air assets above because they're just going to get shot down, right? So that's why I say, with the way technology, war, and things like that are going, especially in the peer-to-peer first world conflict, yes, I do see the special operator becoming, in special operator units, becoming a little bit irrelevant, okay? So what units are those? Probably the SEALs, probably Ranger Battalion. Delta is, doing stuff so sensitive that I don't think it's going to be effective for them, right? But again, sorry if this upsets you, but hear my reasoning. That also includes the Green Beret or Special Forces direct action mission set as well. I don't see us being able to do that any better than the SEALs or the Ranger Battalion, right? So that goes away for us too. However, this is, and this really isn't bias, this is reality. The Green Beret or Army Special Forces mission set is way more diverse than the other SOF units, okay? So for those of you who don't know, whereas the SEALs and Ranger Battalion and even Delta Force are doing primarily direct action, that's just like one of our 8 core mission sets that we're doing as Green Berets. And really, it's not even supposed to be our focus, right? We only have 12 men on the team. We're not going in and hitting targets by ourselves. What we are doing is force multiplying a foreign nation's military or an insurgent forces military or resistant force, I guess you would say, from if it's on our side. And so the usefulness of that isn't going anywhere. Train, advise, equip, and lead foreign nation troops into combat. That's going to be wildly needed. And to be honest, it's happening around the world in different places right now that I'm not allowed to tell you what those places are, but you can probably guess where it's happening, right? If you use your brain a little bit. So, yeah, so the Green Beret is, and Special Forces is doing, DA, like I said, I think that's probably going away. In the sense of how we've been doing it for the last 20 years in global war and terror, it's not really going to be a thing anymore. But, we're doing foreign internal defense, counterinsurgency, counterterrorism, special reconnaissance. That one could be a huge one in a peer-to-peer conflict. And even humanitarian relief type of stuff, okay? So that's why the Green Beret, or the Special Forces unit, has really been the most heavily relied upon unit sort of in the last 20 years in war, in the sense of how we've been doing it, okay? Because we do stuff that's so diverse. So, again, what does that mean? Do I think that the U.S. military is going to get rid of the Navy SEALs or get rid of Ranger Battalion or MARSOC or any of these units? No, of course not, right? One, they're historic, okay? The legacy is insane on those units, right? And to be honest, right, when I hear people start to talk about this type of stuff and SOF becoming irrelevant or whatnot, it's really because we're in a peacetime military right now. There's no big war going on, okay? So that's when you start hearing these things talked about, as if war is not going to break out again, that the U.S. is going to be involved in, okay? So if you look at the United States history and the way our economic system works, and I'll get into that in a second, we go to war, and we're going to keep going to war, whether that be proxy warring through Ukraine into Russia or Israel with Hamas, which we're doing, through to keep that military industrial money pumping through for them, right? Or us directly involved, okay? So I don't think the United States has gone more than 10 years at the most at a time between major conflicts in the last 150 years, okay? I don't foresee that changing anytime soon either, right? After a huge one, Vietnam, World War II, Korea, whatever, it's usually about 10 years before the United States finds itself in a massive blowout conflict, right? You see with things like Israel attacking, or Iran attacking Israel right now, I mean, it's very likely we could end up in another full-scale blown-out war within the next 5-10 years. When that happens, that conversation about the usefulness of SOF is going to disappear. And all of those SOF units are going to become relevant again, right? So, also, why is sort of SOF integral in the way the, war machine works, okay? So, a big part of the money being made by the military industrial complex, a huge portion of it is bombs, rockets, things like that being dropped. What do SOF units do better than anyone else, American SOF? And that is forward deploy, go out, and basically be a forward observer and an actionable JTAC style asset to target, lays in, and guide in munitions to hit targets, okay? So we do a really good job about making shit tons of money for the military industrial complex, okay? So why is war not going away? Talking to one of my old teammates about it, we talk about a peacetime military right now. I mentioned that to him, and he had a great response to that. He said, there's no such thing as peacetime military for the United States. It's just pre-war. We're in a pre-war phase, right? And I think that's a great way to look at it. So, and why is war not going away? Okay, well, for America, right, if you haven't opened your eyes a little bit and seen how the whole system works, okay, so what do? We invade, bomb the shit out of, and destroy a country, okay, and billions of dollars are made off of that. We did it in Vietnam, we did it in World War II to Japan, we did it in Korea, we did it in Vietnam, we did it in Desert Storm, and global war on terror, we did it to Iraq, Syria, and Afghanistan, okay? We come in, we absolutely destroy your country, we level everything, we make billions and billions of dollars for the military-industrial complex doing it, and then we come in and we nation build. So BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, all these companies come in, and now they make all the money rebuilding what we destroyed, okay? It's a giant cyclical sort of money laundering operation. The government, military industrial complex, the big banks, everybody's in on it, okay? So if you think America going to war is going away, you're super naive, you're super ignorant. It's going to happen. So overall, and really the point is the next war is always on the way. It's always coming. Okay, so that's why I don't agree. With a lot of these guys talking about the idea that the soft operator is going the way of the dinosaur. I don't see it happening. I think we're just in a pause period, and it'll get turned right back on. Okay, so maybe some of the units, and really it's not even unit specific. It's again the mission set, direct action in the way we did it in Global War and Terror. That I think is going to be phased out and replaced with more technologically advanced ways. But what is SOF awesome at, right? So Ukrainian SOF is in there using javelins to blow up tanks and shooting down drones and shooting down helicopters, right? That's Ukrainian SOF that's doing that. So that is always going to be relevant, very high technical mission set type stuff. And so, yeah, I think that, SOF will be just fine. And yeah, it's just going to take for the next war to pop off, which, maybe timestamp this, but it's probably going to be within the next 5 years would be my guess based off of the things I'm hearing. All right, guys, take care.